What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the AFC East Roundtable. And I'm excited because we have another banger for you all today. You got myself, TD Fans Talk, Richie representing Jets Media, Pat's Global in the house, and the real Dan Mitchell representing Bills Mafia, I guess. But listen, y'all, we got a treat for y'all today because this one is not going to disappoint. We are going to be discussing the top defensive lines in the AFC East rankings, okay? Who's number one, who's number two, who's number three, and who's at the bottom of the barrel. Before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you in the comment section to pay close attention to this debate because we want to know what you think in the comment section of who won the debate, who's right, who's wrong. Put it in the comment section because low-key, we're taking scores. So we need your help. Make sure you let us know in the comment section who you think got it right, who gave a great explanation, because I'm going to tell you now, I already got a little sneak peek of some of these guys' lists. It's a lot of delusion, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. I want you all to introduce yourselves real quick to all of our new viewers before we get started. Let's start off with Richie. Let them know about your channel and what's going on.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Richie from Jets Media. As you guys can see, we got this brand new series that we're really excited about to break down each position in the AFC East, ranking them. This is episode like 3 or 4 or 5, so make sure you guys go check out the playlist that we created. We're going to break down each position group, and in this one, it's the defensive line, which is one of the most important positions in football outside of quarterback, in my opinion. So this is going to be a really fun ranking video. So guys, if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button and consider hitting that thumbs up for your boys. We got a lot of great stuff coming, baby. Let's go.
Thank you so much. What about you, Pat's Global?
Yes, sir. Y'all already know me. I'm Colby over at Patriots Global. I cover everything involving the New England Patriots from top to bottom. Even if you're not a Patriots fan, you still want to know what's going on with the enemy, right? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's exactly what I'm here for. Ask the 3 other guys. That's basically why they have my phone number at this point. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, of course, I do make some content here too for the AFC East Roundtable. We have a blast. This thing is going to be rising. So like Richie said, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Got a little inside peek of what's to come for the AFC East Roundtable. You guys are not going to want to miss. Like I said, I'll be on here too. So check out my channel too at Pages Global. But more importantly, make sure you guys tune in for the AFC East Roundtable.
Awesome, man. We're excited to have you, Pat's Global. And Dan, go ahead and tell us. Go ahead.
What's going on, everybody? It's not easy making sure that you cover the best team in the AFC East, but I try to do the best that I can over on my channel, self-titled Dan Mitchell. I cover the Buffalo Bills and the NFL a little bit. We have been doing this show, the AFC East Roundtable, for I believe we're coming on to year 4. Super excited that we're able to give you some juicy content that you are about to witness right here and right now. So make sure you like and subscribe.
And most of you know me, and for those who don't, I am TD over at TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Just loving my Dolphins and competing with these guys on this platform, letting them know that we are the number 1 team in the AFC East, and we will prove that this year. You know why? Because we're winning the Super Bowl. All right, y'all. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the best defensive line rankings in the AFC East, and we're going to start with none other than the homie Pat's Global. Let's do it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, all right. So look, man, TD, you acting like you didn't already know this order.
I just still can't believe this, man.
Hey, look, man, look. So I want to kind of just start off by saying, like I told you guys earlier, these were a hard list to make. This isn't just individual players, which probably would have been easier. We're doing overall teams. And the issue, too, that I want to start off by saying, not even just from me, but for all the guys here, is that when you're also trying to do research here for the defensive line, a lot of times your sacks and your pressures and your quarterback hits for those statistical categories get thrown in by your defensive unit as a whole. We are not talking about defensive units as a whole, or the New England Patriots would be number 1. That's not what we're talking about, though, unfortunately, so I couldn't put them there. So with that being said, a lot of times those statistics are inflated by defenses as a whole and not just specifically the defensive line. So what I really preface this on is how they performed last year going into this year, but also really just for me, like what as a Patriots fan scares me more when playing these teams. So starting off here, Bills number one. I actually had a hard time with number one because I didn't know if I wanted to do the Bills or the Jets, because the Jets easily have one of the best defensive lines in the National Football League, and you could switch these and it wouldn't surprise me. Just doing my research statistically, I just kept seeing the Buffalo Bills first, and I was like, I guess I got to roll with the punches and put the Bills first, but it was pretty hard for me not to put the Jets because I think they have one of the best defensive lines, which I'll get to in a minute. As for the Bills, though, I think the Bills easily have one of the best interior defensive lines in the National Football League between Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips. I think Poona Ford is very underrated. Greg Rousseau's not bad. I think that there's still some developmental technician issues that still have to be worked through there. AJ Epinesa, I think, is a guy that's coming out of the draft. I don't think he's hit exactly yet. A little bit better in the run game than he is in terms of the pass rush. So I think he's also of a developmental piece. But what really put this one over the top for me would be guys like Shaq Lawson, and more specifically somebody like Von Miller, who dealt with some injuries this past year. But when he was on the field, he was one of the best pass rushers in terms of pass rush win rate, but also just in terms of pure pressure. So I gave that one a little bit of an edge. But if I go ahead and I look over at, let's say, like the New York Jets, they obviously just signed Quinn Williams, who might be a top 3 defensive lineman, in my own opinion. They obviously drafted a guy in the first round, too. Like, there are a lot of pieces to the New York Jets defensive line that, like I said, it's like 1 and 2 for me between the Bills and Jets. It was very hard for me. But going on to number 3, man, number 3. I didn't think I was going to rank the Patriots this low. And if anybody had the Patriots higher, it would not surprise me. Okay, this defensive line is so slept on. You're going to tell me we have the best defense in the National Football League. Not even the National Football League. We got the best defense in this damn division, bro. And you're going to tell me that we have the 4th best defensive line. The 4th best defensive line, but yet somehow the best defense. Tell me where that makes sense. There's some issues going on with y'all's list if you think somehow you're confidently putting the Patriots at 4. Because also, here, get this, right? The New England Patriots defensive line, the Patriots had 2 players ranked within the top 10 and 1 ranked within the top 5, right? No other player from the AFC East was ranked there.
Who was ranked in the top 10?
Who's ranked in the top 10 in terms of sacks? You have Matt Judon.
Oh, we're just talking about sacks. That's the only element we're talking about here.
Sacks. Yeah, it's sacks.
Oh, okay.
Matthew Judon and Josh Uche, right? Even in terms of pressure, quarterback hits, still in the same category. So, but you also look at the Patriots linebacker core, right? And like I said earlier on, a lot of these statistics were inflated by defense overall. The New England Patriots don't have any linebackers. So their linebackers are not putting up, sacks or quarterback hits and pressures. They don't do that. Their linebackers rarely are putting up those type of statistics in terms of pass rush and actually helping out their defensive line. Very rarely. Usually their linebackers are coming down to stop the run. So with that being said, when you're looking at pass rush win rate, you're looking at sacks, you're looking at pressures and quarterback hits, that's all coming from the Patriots defensive line. As where I feel like with the Jets, with the Dolphins, and especially with the Bills, you guys have your linebackers and a good linebacker core that you utilize to actually get pressure on your quarterbacks, which the Patriots really just rely specifically mostly on their defensive line. I think this is being slept on. And they also didn't have Christian Barmore for most of the season this past year, who is their best interior, not just defender in general, but pass rusher. And when he was here and when he was on, and he's one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles in the National Football League. So I don't know. I think that people are sleeping on the Patriots defensive line. Josh Uche popped out for the Patriots the second half of the year. And I think that finally getting him unlocked and started in the beginning of the year is just going to help the Patriots out significantly. Drafting Keon White, who's going to be a very good dual threat. Dietrich Wise, who put up over 5.5 sacks this past year, was very good in terms of stopping the run and pass rush. A guy who plays on DN, who plays at defensive tackle too. I just think it's being slept on highly, and the Patriots defensive line took a massive step forward this past year compared to 2021, and they've only added, so it's only going to get better. So I think that's being slept on a little bit. As for the Dolphins, man, like they're going up against the Dolphins, I'm just not scared, right? Like I play the Bills, I'm scared. I play the Jets, I'm scared. I'm playing the Dolphins defensive line, and me personally, I'm just not scared. I'm not scared that Mac's gonna have 1.5 seconds to throw. I'm not scared that he's gonna get sacked 6 times in a game. And I just look at your defensive line, and there's no guy that necessarily stands out to me that I'm shivering in my boots about. Emmanuel Ogbah.
Can't believe
he's a good defensive lineman. He's a good defensive end. I'll give you that. But you know what? Bradley Chubb did not hit for you guys this past year. Bradley Chubb didn't hit. He hasn't looked good yet. He hasn't looked good for you yet. And you know what? There is a real thing. There is a real thing about teams, or excuse me, a player getting switched to teams and not performing as well. So you know what? I'm not going to sit back and say, hey, Bradley Chubb was a first-round pick. He did pretty good with Denver. Now you guys got him. You didn't just trade for him, okay? It's been a while now. You traded for him at the trade deadline back in October, okay? Until I see he hits, I'm not going to say that he worries me whatsoever. But I do think that with Jalen Phillips, and Emmanuel Ogbah, you guys got 2, and even Christian Wilkins, because I think he's a very good defensive lineman too. That's a good 1-2 punch, but there's just no guy I'm really shaking in my boots about, and I had to drop you guys because there was no damn way I was putting the Patriots at 4.
Boom. Drop the mic. I love it.
Drop mic. Love it.
Woo!
Okay, CD.
Honestly, I can say that for everybody watching this, don't think that there's a huge gap between each and every single one of these teams, because this is a defensive division right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when I got to my list, I was gonna say like everyone, it's really tight. Like from 1 to 4, the gap is really closed in my opinion.
It's not really.
Like you were to replace any defensive line in the AFC East, and if you were to put them in any other division in this league, I guarantee you that they would be the best or the second best of any other division in this league. Like this division is known for defense. So don't think that we're sitting here. Like this is the hardest list I think I've ever had to put together for this series.
For sure.
100%.
Like I think the team that I put last on my list has an excellent defensive line.
Yeah, get out. I'm so bad. No, don't worry. Oh, y'all gonna get it.
Well,
all right. You know what? Listen, Pat's Global, you're delusional. And let me tell you what I heard a whole bunch of. I heard a whole bunch of name dropping and what you believe in and what you don't believe in, who scares you and who doesn't scare you. But you know what? I ain't hear no statistical data to back up nothing you said. And because don't worry, when I go, I'm about to eat all y'all. But you know what, Pat's Global? When I'm done, you're gonna have us number 1.
We'll see. We'll see if your statistics are legitimate statistics, or if you picked up. If are your statistics specifically based on defensive line?
That's right. My statistics is just D-line. Just D-line. My statistics isn't geared off of how many sacks. I want to talk about sacks. I want to talk about pressures. I want to talk about run stopping. I want to talk about all of it, not just sacks. It ain't just about getting the quarterback. It's about stopping the run and everything. And we're going to talk about it. But for you to have the Pats ahead of the Dolphins, and y'all ain't got a defensive lineman who could stop the run that's good at stopping the run to save your life.
You ever heard of Dietrich Wise? You ever heard? Go look at Dietrich Wise film against the Baltimore Ravens.
No. One game don't make it. Hold on. Dietrich Wise has one of the worst run stopping grades in the NFL. Now you go look at it. You go look at it. He has one of the worst run stopping grades in the entire NFL.
I don't believe it.
Because you're not going to the data, but that's all right. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you the
data. I want to make sure that your defensive line statistics are all backed up specifically on the defensive line. Because if you look up pass rush and you're gonna look up run stop win rate, a lot of times that's defense as a whole and not defensive line. So defensive line. All right, but I ain't gonna inflate the Dolphins' ego because you have good linebackers.
Each player has specific defensive line run stopping grades and pass rushing grades. And I will give you this: you guys are really solid in the pass rushing grades, but Josh Uche, average run D. Matt Judon is the only one who's well rounded on your D line, but it's like it's not excellent, it's not superior, it's not great, it's good. Judon is the only one that's good in every category. Not great, not excellent, but just good. But when you come to Dietrich Wise, pass rushing is good, but he has one of the worst run stopping grades in the entire NFL. And y'all ain't got a defensive tackle to save your life.
Have you not seen Christian Barmore? The Patriots have good.
Hold on. I was finna go there.
Run stopping.
Do you know Christian Barmore is ranked 38th out of 127?
He was injured for most of this past year. His statistics aren't going to be good.
No. This ain't statistics. These are rankings. His rankings is when he was on the field. He was ranked 38th out of 127. 38th.
On what, PFF you're talking to these ranks?
PFF and Pro Reference.
Okay, but again, he was injured. So most of the time, those players that are injured, they're not going to be highly ranked, right?
No.
But you're asking a player who's barely on the field to consistently perform at an elite level. He's not performing up to par because he's barely on the field. He's dealing with injuries. That does go into say. And here's what I'll say too. I like PFF, but at the same time, you cannot sit here and tell me that PFF is always strictly on with their pass rush grades and their run stopping grades and their overall grades. I'm telling you right now, ask any Patriots fan, watch the film. You cannot tell me that Josh Uche can contain the edge and the run and mobile quarterbacks better than Dietrich Wise. That is mind-blowing.
All I'm saying to you is, Pat Global, you're a victim of paying attention to your games and not other players in the league. That's the same thing Dolphin fans do. We look at film, we watch the game, and we say, oh, you can't tell me this guy isn't great, but you're not looking at the rest of the league at other guys just like Quentin Williams. That's a perfect example. Dolphin fans are like crazy about Christian Wilkins. He's amazing. But he ain't no Quentin Williams. But to us, we see Christian Wilkins on film, and we're like, oh my gosh, you can't tell me there's really anybody that much better. Quentin Williams is. Like, so I'm not being a victim of what I see on camera. As good as you may think they are, there are other guys that are actually better in your own division. Don't worry, we'll get there.
I don't even think they're great, but I'll just end this off by saying at the end of the day, it comes down to film, right? And then that's what it comes down to for me. It's just like stats don't also always say the entire thing. I think stats are very important, but they don't say the whole thing. Just like PFF grades. I'm not going to look at a player and say, well, he had a worse run stopping grade, so that's immediately what it is. Like PFF grades are that's like saying that PFF's mock draft simulator is to a T and that their rankings are to a T.
See, you missed it.
80%, 70% of those are not to a T.
You just said it. Mock. We don't know. That's why it's not going to be to a T.
But that's essentially what it is. Like their grades on those players are the same thing.
PFF grades are taking every play into consideration, not the one that you saw him.
They do that from the collegiate level too, though.
Exactly, but not the one you saw him beast on. Not the play that you saw him go crazy on. But don't worry, we're going to keep going through the list. We're going to keep having our opinions. But
we're already only in one list revealed in this video. It's going to be a long one.
This might be because, next up, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Dan Mitchell. Now, never mind. I already, Dan, go. Just go.
All right. Now, listen, I want to let everyone know and preface this with the fact that I looked at 3 key examples of ranking each and every single one of these defensive lines. Number 1, I looked at run defense. Number 1, I looked at pressures, not sacks. I'm talking pressure, getting in the quarterback's face and causing plays to be a bit expedited. And then I also looked at depth. So how comfortable do I look, or how comfortable am I with a defensive line based off of their rotation, both on the interior and also on the edge? As you can see, I have the Buffalo Bills sitting at number 1. Now, there's no question that we had one of the lowest ranked defensive lines in the league for run defense last year. It's been something that we have struggled with tremendously. But as far as pressures on the quarterback, as far as sacks, as far as depth, particularly, especially in the interior line, Daquan Jones, absolute slept-on defensive tackle, who is the epitome of what the Buffalo Bills look for at that position. Ed Oliver, who holds his own, just ended up acquiring Poona Ford, who I am very excited about as well. And then Jordan Phillips, as long as he can stay healthy, He has been shown to be an absolute magnet right into running backs and being able to at least alleviate that issue that the Buffalo Bills have had. On the edge, as of yesterday, Von Miller has guaranteed the rest of the Buffalo Bills that he guarantees he will be back no later than week 6. And then once he comes back, you are also going to have Gregory Rousseau, who I'm very excited to go into that next year. And then AJ Epinesa, who had probably the quietest 8.5 sack season that practically anybody could talk about from that particular end. It was a tight race, but I do have the Buffalo Bills at number 1. The leading factor was pressures, and then also the absolute depth that we have at the defensive tackle position. The Jets, obviously, let's go on ahead with Quinnen Williams being that absolute dog right in the interior. Every single time that the Jets play the Buffalo Bills, I am nervous for Josh Allen's life. They get to him, whether or not that it's pressures, whether or not that it's sacks. Their run defense is still absolutely immaculate. So the Jets ended up securing that second spot. Patriots as well. I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to hate on Uche. I'm not going to hate on Matthew Judon, who's an absolute stud for this team. They get to the quarterback. This is Bill Belichick's DNA. He builds that front seven, and there's no question that they are not going to regress next year. They're more than likely going to be a bit better. And then the Dolphins, like I said, this is not a knock to any Dolphins fans whatsoever. I am still very hopeful for Jalen Phillips to absolutely step up and be that defensive end that they did draft. I like Christian Wilkins. Just stop nut tapping my quarterback after the whistle. That would be great. But really, outside of that, the 3 things that I looked for were those 3 main categories, and hence why my list is the way that it is. I like the Dolphins' defensive line. I like their secondary a hell of a lot better than their defensive line, but that's where Dan Mitchell's list stands based off of those 3 key factors.
Hey man, I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. But you said a key factor, the reason why you had the Bills number 1.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because there's a key factor why I had my list my way. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
Show Richie's list. Do it.
Well,
Any comments on Dan's list first before we get into mine?
Well, yeah, I already know what you're about to say, Richie, and you are actually correct, Richie.
What am I going to say?
Of why you had your list the way it is, because Dan's full of it, but he has a point, but y'all's are better, Richie. But anyway, Dan, this is what I'll say about your list. The Buffalo Bills do have a great D-line. You see my list.
I did see it. Yeah.
And I personally feel like you all have a really good D-line, but there's still room to be desired.
Exactly.
You have your interior D linemen. Now let's get something straight. They haven't played on an elite level. But no, they are good and solid. Okay. Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, both of them really solid players. I like Daquan Jones better than Ed Oliver at this point.
Me too.
And overall, you have a good pair. Okay. They ain't jumping out the gym. But that is a really solid, really good pair. It's not better than our pair, but they hold their own. Now, you mentioned 2 names, and that's where you lost me because you're just mentioning names now because both of them were absolute trash last year. Okay,
or to Jordan
Phillips and Poona Ford, both of them absolute trash last year. I mean, just horrible, by the way. Anyway, but let's go on your edge rushers. This is where you all build more of your momentum. They're better than your interior D linemen. Again, I don't think they're the best, but this is where you guys are strong. Von Miller pretty much leads the way. He was injured, but when he was on the field, you see Pat's Global, when he was on the field, he was phenomenal, okay? But I can't give you Boogie Basham.
No,
I give you solid, but I can't give you that as just a staple, okay? And I'm sorry, this one probably is going to upset you. He got good pass rush, but he is just as horrible in the run game as Dietrich Wise, and that's AJ Epinesa. He was just as horrible in the run game as Dietrich Wise, okay?
Yeah, he's slow.
But your pride and butter, Gregory Rousseau, your young guy, up and coming, But I want you to remember Gregory Rousseau when I do my list, Dan.
Yep.
Because you know who we compare Gregory Rousseau to every year.
Some Jalen Phillips, man.
And you want to know who's killing Gregory Rousseau right now in production?
Who is that?
Jalen Phillips. And most of y'all may not know this, and this is why I'm shocked with your list, and nobody scared you, Patch Global. But guess who
Maybe y'all are just nuts against the Patriots.
Guess who the number 3 pass rushing edge was in the NFL last year? The number 3, Jalen Phillips. That's right. Number in his sophomore year. But I'm giving away my list. But
what was that for PFF grades? You said he was highest in terms of PFF grades as
PFF, CBS rankings. And one of them had him number 2. I forgot which site had him number 2. But I like to go, PFF had him number 3. I like to go off of that because they give a breakdown of run D, pass D, and coverage, and so forth and so on. And overall.
My point from earlier.
It's one closing.
But once again, we got CBS rankings and man, what's the other one? They actually had him at 2. I should have remembered it. I'll get it to you, bro. I'll get it to you, but we'll get there. But good list, Dan. I ain't mad at you for having.
Yeah. One closing statement I will say is the fact that our overall stats from last year completely spiraled down the drain once Von Miller went down.
Which is a key reason why you said something that factored into the Bills being up, and you said depth. When you said depth, I was like, okay, Dan, everything else I can agree with. But the depth, I cannot agree with you there. Because it proved last year when Von Miller went down, you had nobody step up in his place. And that's what the Jets got, is freaking depth. We are a 10-deep defensive line unit that runs a steady freaking rotation. So let's get into the Jets defensive line because you know I have them number 1, baby. Let's freaking go. Now, this Jets defensive line is number 1 for me for the sole reason it's the best freaking position on the football team. Like, the Jets' strength is their defensive line. So it's impossible for me to go out there and not rank them number 1, especially when you look at it from the perspective of the other teams in the AFC East and their defensive lines. Now, before I go into the Jets, I do want to say again that the AFC East defensive line units are stacked. Now, you can say that there's all 4 of us in the top 10, in my opinion. I really do believe that this list is not like a big gap in between each and every one of these teams. I really strongly believe that the defense, it was really hard for me to make this list. Absolutely really hard. And I'll get into my thoughts of each individual team. But the reason why I have the New York Jets at number 1 is we have a different element to our defensive line. Robert Saleh uses this D-line differently than really anybody in the NFL. The only one that does it similar is San Francisco because that's where he comes from. We run a rotation. We have 10 guys dressed, all 10 of them play. And we get fresh people on the field every single time throughout the whole football game. They want the fresh legs for the fourth quarter. They hide out their closer edge rushers for pass rushing situations late in the fourth quarter. I'll give you an example. Buffalo Bills fans remember this play, I guarantee you. Jets-Bills, MetLife Stadium, fourth quarter, 3rd down. Josh Allen has to make a play. We unleash our pass rushing specialist, who's our closer. His name is Bryce Huff. He's the one that screamed off the edge and injured Josh Allen. Now, I'm sorry he injured you guys, but that was the play where he knocked the ball out and basically won the game against the Buffalo Bills. We have these players, and the reason why I bring up Bryce Huff is because you guys probably don't even know who Bryce Huff is, and he's an undrafted free agent guy that we got 2 years ago who is spectacular, and he's just a pass rushing specialist, and he's someone that we use dedicated for specific role. And guess who's filling in for the Bryce Huff role this year? And Bryce Huff isn't going anywhere, by the way. His name is Will McDonald, who we just drafted in the first round. He is going to be our pass rushing specialist in the fourth quarter. He's the closer. Anybody that's a baseball fan, it's basically think of a closer coming out there in the 9th inning, protecting the lead. You got to go out there and make a play on a pass rush situation and make a play if you have the lead late in the fourth quarter. Now, in my opinion, and I don't really think this is that much of an opinion, the New York Jets have the best defensive line individual player in the division, in that being Quinnen Williams. First team All-Pro, led the NFL in sacks out of any interior defensive lineman in the entire league, dominant against the run, elite against the pass. He is the piece that really holds the glue together. We have John Franklin Myers, who kicks inside and outside. We have Carl Lawson, who's coming off a career-high sack season last year after rupturing his Achilles a year prior. We drafted Jermaine Johnson in the first round last year. You add another first-round talent this year. We go out there and we add Al Woods, the veteran run stuffing monster from the Seattle Seahawks. We add Quentin Jefferson. I mean, the Jets defensive line is so deep where there's 10 guys. You can't look at the starting 4. You can't look at the 5 and 6. You got to look at all 10 because the Jets use this defensive line in a unique way where you have fresh legs on the field at all times. On pass rushing situations, this is the unit. On run stopping situations, this is a unit. So there's nobody on the field that's gassed. And some Jets fans are getting used to it because the one negative I'd say is, well, our best players are not on the field as much. Well, that's because the Jets really believe in this pass rush situations, and we also don't rely on blitzing to get to the quarterback, which is why we rely on our defensive line more than anybody, right? When you're a 3-4 defense like the Patriots, for example, they led the AFC East in sack totals, but that's because they were blitzing defensive backs, blitzing linebackers, and they had really unique blitz packages. Well, the Jets don't rely on blitzing. They get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush. So when you talk about sack numbers, it's all about the defensive line with the New York Jets. Like, there's nobody on this Jets team that gets sacks besides defensive linemen. You could throw in, like, C.J. Mosley had a sack. Quincy Williams, our linebacker, had 2 sacks. But majority, you look at the sack numbers, it's all from the Jets defensive line. It's a 4-man rush, and that's what makes this Jets defense as a whole so good is because we can drop back so many players, 7 players in total in coverage, and still get to the quarterback with only 4 players. So, and the last point I'll make, the reason why I have the Jets number 1 over the Buffalo Bills is the reason of depth. And I think the Buffalo Bills, when healthy, you can definitely argue they're the best defensive line because Von Miller does take them over the top. He is that good. Von Miller is freaking elite. You got the young stud in Gregory Rousseau. You got, Ed Oliver, you got some good players on that defensive line, but I'm just looking at the Bills where they're 1 injury away where I don't think they can really step up. So I just put the Jets over the Bills because of the depth reasons where if somebody does get banged up, I have a lot of confidence in players on this defensive line to step in and really make some plays. And then the Patriots and the Dolphins, man, I was really, really struggling with this ranking. I really got to be honest with you guys. I had the Dolphins 3, I had the Patriots last. I was really figuring it out, and I dove deep into the analytics and all the stats that I really came up with. And, I looked at it from this perspective in my eyes. Matthew Judon was, in my opinion, the best edge rusher in the AFC East out of any team, right? I think Quinnen Williams was the best interior defensive lineman last year in the AFC East. In the NFL, you can argue. And then Matthew Judon had a sensational season. And when you have an edge rusher like that, it really takes you over the top. And I know the Dolphins do have a stud in Jalen Phillips. They got Bradley Chubb. They have Christian Wilkins. But I look at this New England Patriots defensive line, and you just look at the numbers. They might not be the big-time names. Christian Barmore wasn't healthy last year. But I just feel like as a system, they are excellent at getting to the quarterback at any given way. Quarterback rush and stopping the run is where I think the New England Patriots are elite at as well. And again, the gap between the Patriots and the Dolphins is not there, but based off the stats I came up with last year and where I'm projecting it this season, I would not be shocked if the Dolphins can be above the Patriots this season. But I'm just basing this off of what I saw in 2022, and I saw the addition of Bradley Chubb for the Miami Dolphins at the back end of the season. It kind of helped, but I think another year for the Miami Dolphins with Bradley Chubb and a new system of Vic Fangio, it can really go out there. And I'll have to say this to finish it off. Just because I have the Miami Dolphins 4th does not mean I think they have a bad defensive line. I think they have one of the top defensive line units in the NFL. The AFC East is just that freaking stacked. So that's my thoughts of the AFC East defensive line.
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I agree. I agree with it. Like I said, it was very hard for me between 1 and 2. Now, this whole list was very hard, but 1 and 2, especially for me, these were all close, but the Jets and the Bills for me was like a hair close for me. It was so difficult for me to pick which one was going to be over the top. And honestly, looking at depth, which I probably should have looked at more and valued more, I probably should have went with the New York Jets. But like I said, they're so close, and they can be so close to where I could see where you'd go with where I could see where you'd go with one unit over the other. Like the Bills scare me and the Jets scare me easily when I play these pass rushes. But I do think that if I had to lean towards one pass rush, and I don't know whose rate is better in terms of run stopping, but in terms of just pure pass rush only, I would say the Jets D-line does scare me a little bit more than the Bills does, although it is still scary. And that's why in the last couple of years, the Bills have blown us out 27 to 7 or 10. So that makes sense. Yeah, no, I thought those rankings were
and
were
even in the 2 games that we versus last year, for example, Patriots Global, I mean, you guys beat us both times, but We had
6
like
times.
we sacked you like 5-6 times per game,
Yeah.
right? In that game,
Exactly.
in both those games.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I had to value in the fact of how it affected the Patriots specifically because of the stats being kind of inflamed with other statistical categories. So, like I said, the Jets are a scary defensive line team. That's why you guys in those games were so close and were so close to potentially winning some of those games was because of your pass rush and Mac's inability to get anything done in those games. So I like that. It was a good one.
Appreciate that. So anybody else have anything to say?
Yo, TV's got something to say. You can read it all over his face. I love it.
I'll say mine when I start, and I can't believe I'm gonna do this. Just let's move to mine, Richie, and it'll explain what I gotta reply to Richie, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Richie stomped me. My list is wrong. Okay. I'm gonna be honest. Just like Past Global said, if I would have looked a little deeper, it might have been Jets number 1. I'm gonna adjust my list right here on the fly, and I'm gonna take Jets from number 3 and move them all the way up to number 1. Push Miami down to number 2, Buffalo number 3, and Pats number 4.
Okay, well,
Respect.
It's the truth. Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this.
What made you think that? What made you change it?
I knew your D line was good, but I didn't. I'm sitting here looking at it like amazed on my other computer. Y'all do have depth on the edge. Like I've never seen that kind of depth on the edge. Y'all got 5 guys that are all good on the edge. All 5 of them can come in and make an impact. And 4 of the 5 are excellent in run D. And 4 of the 5 can hold their own in pass rush. So, man, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. The only knock that I will give the Jets D line, even though you have the best interior duo with Quentin Williams and Al Woods, in my opinion, barely, and I'm gonna be honest, Richie, barely, because Zeeler for the Dolphins and Christian Wilkins are both better than Al Woods.
Yeah.
But none of them are better than Quentin. And when you put their composite together, I give y'all like a 87 and us a 86. So barely better.
Yeah.
But the issue you have on the interior D line, you got all the depth on the edge, but you have no depth in the middle.
You're right.
One of those guys go down, you are done in the middle. Quentin goes out, people will run the ball like heck on y'all. And that's why he's so valuable. Y'all got the best D-line in the division. I will concede that.
I respect.
I will concede that you have the best D-line.
I also think, in my opinion, schematically, the Jets rely on their defensive line out of any of the teams in the division from their 4-3 base. Like, we rely on that heavily.
But Richie,
for pass rushing situations,
you didn't have to add certain names, which discredits you because your line is great. Don't be putting no Will McDonald. He ain't even play yet. We all know what he gonna be in no NFL.
I'm just saying he's a pass rush specialist. He's replacing Bryce Huff as our pass rush specialist. He's coming in there for 3rd and long, baby.
And
we don't know what he'll do.
That's what's crazy about it all because you got the guys. And Bryce Huff was your best player last year, but the other guys, they're really good. So if Will McDonald can come in and fill those shoes, that'll be pretty dope. But let me get on to the Miami Dolphins. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. I had to adjust my list. Jets are number 1. I think I just explained why. The Miami Dolphins are number 2 in this division. First and foremost, we got the second best interior defensive lineman in the division. Our interior is better than Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver, both put together. Better than Christian Barrymore. All of these guys, Christian Wilkins and Zeeler are better. Now, I will concede to this. They're dominant run stoppers. They can be better in pass rush. Okay, but their overall play is just very impactful with pressures and things of that nature. We have the second best interior D-line in the division. Now, when it comes to the edge rushers, this is where I personally believe we take the cake to be number 2 in the division. I know that, and again, I'm not even going to preference the Patriots. They just got a whole bunch of above average to good players, but none of them are like the best in the league or like elite in that respect.
You never heard of Matthew Judon?
Yeah, Matthew Judon, but at the end of the day, even his play is starting to come down from what.
What do you mean? He's getting better statistically every single year.
His play doesn't stack. The point is his play isn't stacking up with his peers, though.
I don't agree with that.
His peers.
He was a top 5 edge rusher.
Yeah, he can go get the sacks, but at the end of the day, he's not. And then you said pressures too. No, he's not as many. What about his run stopping rate? He's good at the run stopping.
A good run stopper. I'm not going to say he's one of the best run stoppers in the National Football League. But those pair up very well together.
But I told you that Matthew Judon is your best D lineman,
and no one should disagree
all
with
around. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, he ain't better than Jalen Phillips.
I don't believe that.
You ain't. Oh my God!
I don't believe
why?
that.
Why?
Richie, why are you gonna sit here and tell me right now that Phillips is better than Matthew Judon?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can say that.
If you're going to take an edge defender right now on your team, if you have a team, which edge defender would you take?
Matthew Judon was a game wrecker. He's a game changer.
And so I take Judon over.
Jalen Phillips is a team record and a game changer.
I'm not taking it away from Jalen Phillips.
I know you're not, Dan, because he got a strip sack fumble touchdown on Josh Allen.
Judon, I would take Judon on the Buffalo Bills.
This is where your bias is.
7 days a week.
This is where your biasness is coming from.
I hate the Patriots. They ruined my life, man. How the hell am I going to be biased to the Patriots?
Your bias is only coming from because of how long he's been doing it now to you all. But Jalen Phillips is only 2 years in the league, and he's already producing better than Judon.
Matthew Judon's only 2 years with the Patriots.
Yeah, but I'm talking about overall, man. Overall play, Matthew Judon is not better than Jalen Phillips. He's not.
I can't agree with that one.
I'm sorry. It is what it is, man. Nobody is
ranking him higher. Are you saying Jalen Phillips was better than Matthew Judon last year, or are you projecting that this season he's going to have a better season?
Both. That's the point.
Both.
Last year he was better, and projecting going forward he's going to be even better. Because let me tell you something about the Dolphins D-line that we don't talk about. All of our guys, even though a lot of them graded well, they had to deal with a non-existent secondary. We lost 5 guys due to injury in the secondary, and y'all know that. And Xavier Howard was the only one on the field playing through injury. Now having a healthy X, having a healthy Needham, and having a healthy Ramsey, what do you think is about to happen with the D-line with better coverage? Why do you think the Jets D-line is so productive? Because of also the coverage. So this year coming up, these guys are about to take off like no other, and they were already doing well last year. So I'm sorry. Listen, like I said, Jalen Phillips, in my opinion, is better than Matthew Judon. But, okay, if we debate it, we debate it. We just know we got 2 good players that we're talking about. Now, moving on, we already talked about the interior defensive lineman, but we got Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb did not perform at the same level he was at the beginning of the season with Denver. I'll admit that. He made the Pro Bowl specifically because of what he did in Denver. Half of a season, and he already made the Pro Bowl. He came to Miami and he was not as productive as he was in Denver, but he was also coming into a new system, new environment. Now he's coming back to the Fangio system, the one that made him what he was, the Fangio system who we hired this offseason. You can only imagine what Bradley Chubb is about to be. And we're not going to sit here and debate who's better between Bradley Chubb and Matthew Judon, are we? Are we?
Matthew Judon, right?
Oh, you know what, Past Global? I might have found my match with you, but you know what? That's all right. But in my opinion, we're not even going to debate. Bradley Chubb and that Fangio system is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, and I'm not even going to debate that with anyone. Then on top of that, you add Emmanuel Ogbah, who got injured last year. Y'all forgetting the man didn't even play the full season. I think he played like 8 games or something like that. Emmanuel Ogbah coming fresh off of an injury last year. This D-line is the best. I had it as the best D-line in the division until I saw the Jets' depth, because to be quite honest with you, that's my biggest issue with the Miami Dolphins D-line. Where are we going to find the depth from? And that's where the big issue comes from. We have the front, we have the starters, but the depth isn't quite there. But we're number 2 in the NFL, in my opinion. That's what I got for you. What do you all think?
I'm just curious. So you brought the Jets from 3 to 1. What initially had you at the Jets at 3 below the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I have to be honest with you. Losing your best pass rusher this year. Okay,
who did?
You guys, you
we didn't lose anyone.
You replaced Will McDonald with
We replaced Will McDonald with anyone. You just added.
Hold on. Let me go back.
We the only people we lost was our defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins.
No. I'm telling you who the reason why I had you all 3rd. I had thought that you lost let me see, your best defensive edge. Yes. I thought that you all had lost him, but then when I noticed, hold on, he's still on the right. That's why I said don't include Will McDonald. I thought you all lost him. Then whenever I saw, hold on, he's still there. I don't know why I thought you guys lost him, but that right there, that was a game changer for me. Bryce Huff, I'm thinking that you all still got John Franklin, Michael Clemens, Carl Larson, and Jermaine Johnson. But then I was like, Bryce Huff is going to be the one who's really going to hurt you all with that loss, because I thought y'all wouldn't. I don't know why I thought y'all lost him.
Yeah, we gave him the restricted free agent tender, so he's
that's why, because I thought you all wouldn't be able to retain him. I didn't know y'all gave him a tender. So keeping him on there whenever I was sitting here looking at it and you mentioned him, I was like, they got the best D-line by far. And I know you say everything is close, but actually, Richie, don't be modest. I got to be honest with you. If we're on a scale of 1 to 10, y'all D-line is an 8.5. Our D-line is like a 7.8. The Bills are like a 7.3, and the Patriots are like a 2. But that's not even no, but the Patriots are like a 6.8 to me or whatever. But it's not as close as you think. Richie, look at your D-line. Other than your interior depth, which it could be disastrous. That could be disastrous for y'all.
No doubt.
So, but outside of that, no, ain't nobody got no 5 pass rushers that are all holding their own like this. Nobody got 5 pass rushers holding their own.
Yeah, no one's got
plus a high draft pick. Come on, man.
Look at that depth. Well, there they are. That's the edge rushers.
No, I'm gonna keep it 100. Ain't nobody got no pass rush that played that well, held their own, and added a few more in the draft with good picks. Sorry.
Yeah, back-to-back first-round picks and Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald to add to what we already have back-to-back years.
I gotta be honest. I'm actually a little bit more concerned about the Jets now.
And then before we finish off the video, I do want to just give one sleeper name. This is to watch out for a breakout, and his name is Michael Clemens. Michael Clemens was a 4th-round pick last year and had a sensational rookie season for a 4th-rounder. That's my breakout guy who's going to be a big name this season, Michael Clemens.
Yeah, his run stopping is elite.
Yeah, that man is a force. Like, he's scary. Like, his personality, he's a mean mugger. Like, his run stopping is crazy. And
Richie, he's a first down guy. He ain't no pass rushing demon.
No,
okay?
I'm not saying pass rush. He brings that power though that the Jets need. Because if there was one kryptonite to the D line, the pass rush is so good, but the run stopping is not as good as the pass rush. But it's not like it's bad.
Actually, you know what's crazy? He's the best run stopper on your team, even better than Quentin Williams.
There it is.
So, but that's it. That's a specialty guy. So,
yeah.
But you got so many guys that you can have specialty guys. You're first down. The other guys are second and third. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. That's pretty dope for the Jets. But I can't wait till we get to y'all linebackers so we can eat y'all alive.
Yeah. All right. Well, that That was an intense breakdown of this. This is the longest video we have so far on the channel of the position groups, and it's rightfully so because this defensive line unit is stacked in this division. So, folks, if you enjoyed this show, let us know in the chat right now. Let us know in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up button and comment down below a football emoji if you stayed all the way until the end so we know that you stayed for this 50-minute video all the way up into the end. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. TD, want to finish it up?
Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please listen to what Richie said. Put the football in the comment section. And also tell us who got it right in the comment section. Because I can't believe all three of these guys had us last. And even Jets and Bills fans out there and Pats fans, be honest for once in your life. Tell them who got it right. Because oh my God, the disrespect. I think the disrespect is really coming for the fear of the Dolphins this year. But we'll talk about that on another show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the AFC East Roundtable. Thank you, fellas. We will catch you on the next one. Stay tuned to the series and subscribe to AFC East Roundtable. Peace. We are out. Josh Allen Trash.